Hello, my friend. Today, I want to speak to you about the 君子的流仪君子的流仪 or the 6 skills of a modern man, right? So, today we're going to be talking about both the traditional Confucian liu yi, which means the 6 arts, and the 6 skills of a modern man, which is just these 6 arts translated to the modern world to create a generation of better men. So, without further ado, let's begin. The first one, li, ritual. In ancient Chinese society, Confucian society, ritual played a role of knowing how to behave in social settings, during social ceremonies, in your family. So know that you are your father's son, so you ought to respect your father this way. You are your younger brother's older brother, so you ought to respect him in this way and talk to him this way. This is your teacher, so how to conduct yourself next to your teacher, next to your ruler, next to your neighbor, next to your mother, father, sister, grandma, everybody. This was knowing your place in the world, and it was also the knowledge of etiquette, the knowledge of, like the name says, ritual, these social rituals, these social norms, the religious ceremonies, the traditional ceremonies, the holidays, the festivals. It was just knowing what the fuck is going on around you. All right. So that is the role that the ritual played in Chinese society. And the modern equivalent of that is philosophy. Philosophy. Man, you got to know your Plato's, your Socrateses, your Nietzsche's, your Descartes, your fucking Jesus's, your Buddha's, your Chinese philosophers, right? I might be biased, but I think that, there is something to these Chinese philosophers. So you got to know them too. You got to study them too. And I'm out here to help, so. But you got to study your philosophy. You got to understand the world. You got to understand what is going on, the different views. You got to understand empiricism, rationalism, right? But also mysticism, metaphysics. You got to understand the more down-to-earth European views, the less down-to-earth, more mystical Eastern views. You got to have a general image of how the world is operating, of how the universe works, of what God is, of whether God is. If God is, what is God? What is goodness? What is evil, right? Knowing just the fucking less tangible, worldly stuffs, right? Not the, although we're going to get to physical stuff too, but knowing your philosophy, knowing your religion, knowing your cultures, knowing your customs, knowing what people do. Also, in this, I would probably count in social norms, although more on that a little bit later. So, the next one is or music. Now, this is not just music, not just the ability to play an instrument or the ability to recognize the iconic tunes, right? This is not your knowledge of the top 10 rappers or if you want to get more classical, it's like, oh yeah, I know I can distinguish Mozart and Bach and Beethoven and Vivaldi, and I also know the classical jazz and the early rock and roll, and I also know the metal scene, and I know the pop scene, or Michael Jackson and all these other motherfuckers. No, in ancient China, music served as a purpose of balance and harmony, right? They thought that good music was going to harmonize the soul. It was going to create this innate harmony. It was literally going to change your psychological makeup, your mood, your everything, so that, you're living better. And the modern equivalent of that is emotional intelligence in you and in others. You need to understand when you're getting mad. You need to be able to deal with fear, be able to deal with sadness, control joy, because joy is a fire and it can swallow you if you do not let it, right? Have you ever done something stupid when you were euphoric or ecstatic? Exactly, right? But it's also in others. So you need to be able to deal with people who are angry, deal with people who are sad, deal with people who are, scared, deal with people who are happy, and be able to recognize your emotions, other people's emotions, have the vulnerability in yourself to feel your emotions, right? Because I know you. You're a big, strong man. David Goggins, Andrew Tate. Men don't feel emotions. Men don't cry. Blah, 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 blah. Right? That's not emotional intelligence. That's emotional suppression. which is inferior to emotional letting go, to emotional vulnerability with yourself. I'm not saying that you ought to go to a psychologist and, go to some woman in an armchair and cry like, oh, my mama didn't love me. Oh, she doesn't love me. No. It's the ability to look yourself in the motherfucking eye and go like, bro, I understand you're scared. I understand you're scared. I understand you're scared of failure. I understand you're scared of being rejected. Bro, I feel you. I know your mama didn't love you. I know your dad didn't love you. I know your brother or sister didn't love you. Your grandma didn't love you. I know that your girlfriend left you 3 years ago and mentally scarred you because she was abusive and whatever. I know. That's what you ought to say to yourself. Recognize your emotions. Let go of your emotions. Deal with your emotions. I'm no emotional intelligence expert. I'm no emotional master yet. But you got to do this. If you want a book recommendation from me, number one book you can read is The Art of Letting Go or The Way of Letting Go. One of these two by David Hawkins. Just Google that. The Art of the Way of Letting Go. All right, let's get to another one. And another one is archery. I do not remember how you say this in Chinese, but it's archery. So in ancient China, in the times of Confucius, China wasn't united. It was in utter chaos, a bunch of warlords fighting each other. And archery was one of the more important parts of the early Chinese military of that time. So archery was, on the one hand, useful. It allowed, the noble people, because the Junzi that we spoke on in the beginning, right? The Junzi, the first two characters on the top, so this one and this one, right? This means like a nobleman or something like that, right? So a nobleman knew his archery. He knew his physical abilities. He knew his physical training. He was strong, right? He had the skill of defending himself and his country. But also, archery requires concentration, focus, skill, ability. It's really difficult to train it. It takes a really fucking long time to get good at archery. So, what is the modern equivalent of that? Physical training, both gym and a martial art, right? So if you do not know what to do with your spare time, pick up a martial art. Learn, not in order, in order to defend yourself, so the purpose of archery as a martial art, but also in order to understand your body better. I don't do martial arts except for Tai Chi, which is, calling that a martial art in the modern understanding of what that term means is, it's not a martial art, right? But it is a martial art. So it allows you to get control of your body, knowledge of your body, right? You feel comfortable that if you extend your arm, you can, direct your fist, or you can control the degree to which you bend it. And you think that, yeah, I can do that. But under stressful situations, when you do not expect to do that, when you're in your head or something, you don't. Plus, many of us don't feel comfortable in our bodies. And that's another thing. Physical training as in gym. Train your strength so that you're an able man, so that you fucking feel able. I can tell you that if you do not work out, what the fuck are you doing with your life, bro? I know I look small, but the strength really does change it. You really feel a lot more able in your own body. You really feel more like, hey, yeah, I can carry myself. Like, I can do this shit. I can lift heavy stuff if it's necessary. I can lift my body, right? That's why I do calisthenics. It also gives you more of a sense of control over your body, right? You get the sense that, hey, I can pull myself up. I can do these weird things with my own body. That's that. So here's another one. And this one is going to be obscure for the Western person. Charioteering. Right, in the modern sense, we don't fucking have any chariots, but understand this. It was also important in the military. The rich aristocrats, they would ride around the battlefield in a chariot and fight from it. But charioteering required a lot of skill. A tremendous amount of skill. Coordination, communication, the ability to ride on a horse, the ability to ride a chariot, the ability to navigate, the ability to manage this whole thing, It was a really multi-factor, very complicated process of getting on a chariot and fucking riding around on a battlefield, but also around a city. So, what's the modern equivalent, you may ask? navigating life. And navigating life, I have here written down in my little notes. You can see my little notes. It comes down to really a lot of things. One of them is the simple everyday tasks like repairs, right? As a man, fucking be able to, repair basic shit, change a tire, hang a bookshelf, assemble fucking IKEA furniture, bro. It's not that fucking hard, right? Another one is finances, right? As a man, you fucking gotta know your finances. You gotta know how to manage money. You gotta know how to track your money. You gotta know to earn money. You gotta know to deal with all that. And I'm not saying I'm any good at that. I'm fucking barely, not even 20 years old, right? I'm still learning, but this is just the principles that I'm gonna learn myself as well, right? Another one is your rights, your legals, right? Know what you can do, know what you cannot do, right? Don't be a fucking stupid teenager who gets into a debate with a fucking policeman or some other law government official thing like, oh, but I thought I can do this, or blah, blah, blah. Like, know your fucking rights, right? You go on a road, in order to get your driving license, you need to know the fucking road rules. So know the rules for other areas of life, especially the ones that you're going to be dealing with, right? If you're starting a business, opening a company, one thing is you may hire somebody to do that for you, but also know it your fucking self. Be able, right? And another one is relationship skills. And I don't mean romantic relationship, I mean relationship in general. Know how to deal with people around you. Know how to manage these relationships. Know how to uphold them. Know how to better them. Know how to build them. Know how to, navigate them, right? What to do. Oh my God, we are having a trouble. Okay, what do I do about that, right? Learn this shit, bro. Final two. Calligraphy. In ancient China, calligraphy was seen as a very noble thing. It was the ability to hold up, they used to write with brushes like this, right? It was the ability to, know the characters, right? The language. Language has a shit ton of characters, so just mastering fucking writing and reading already was a pretty big task. So for them it was, that, like learning this thing. But also in ancient China, the written form of communication was very important. Very important. You see all these philosophers writing down their shit, right? In Europe, we had Socrates, who didn't want his words and teachings to be written down so that people don't mistake them. In Egypt, you have a legend of god Thoth, who invented writing, presented it to the emperor of Egypt or the king of Egypt, and the king of Egypt said, the pharaoh of Egypt, and the pharaoh said, I don't know, man, this I don't know, this doesn't seem like that good of an invention, right? I mean, this is gonna debilitate people and make them unable to remember shit, right? But in China, very important your knowledge to write, right? And in it was, also rhetoric. Also, the ability to convince people to your opinions based on your writing, writing eloquence. Also, sometimes poetry is included into this, right? The ability to recognize good poetry, write poetry, express yourself. And so you already know what the Western or the modern equivalent of that is. Communication and literacy. Those are two different things. We're going to touch on both. So first, let's go on communication, right? So I mean, I just covered it in the Chinese section, right? What is communication? It's the ability to manage with people. Also in reference to charioteering and navigating relationships, this is definitely going to help you manage and navigate your relationships, right? Communication. Be able to let people know what you want. Be able to talk to people, Be good with your body language, with your rhetoric, with the choice of words, with your tone of voice, your vocal modulation, right? Because it also comes down to the way you speak, right? You're gonna, I can start talking really fast, and and nobody fucking understands what the fuck are you saying, right? Right now, I was saying really fast, and I kind of pitched my voice a little bit up. I did that so that you understand the importance of what I said, as in like the stress on it, right? I was like, this is really fucking important. Like, listen to me, bro. But also, talking in a low voice, right? Because I can talk like this. Imagine that I told you everything I told you in this video in like this voice, right? This is my more natural and normal voice that I just do not have to pay any attention to, and I can speak like this. But bro, literally, if I would be talking to you like that the whole fucking video, you would not take me seriously, because the pitch of your voice the tone of your voice, the speed at which you're speaking, the pauses for breaths you take, the pauses for thinking you take. It's all important. And I'm no master at this. I've been talking fast this whole fucking video, right? It's 15 minutes and 45 seconds of recording so far. If I were talking in this tempo, maybe I would have said more. Maybe I would have come up with more things to say. Maybe this video would have been a lot longer. And therefore, would be better. It feels nice to sit down and record a video that is an hour long, which is dense in information, right? But because I was talking really fast, it's going to end up being a 20-minute long video. Still dense, but, could have been an hour. So know how to communicate. There's so much that goes into communication, right? My body language in this video is horrible. Look, my back is like arched, right? I'm, leaning in. I could have just, recorded this entire video, taking a lot of space, right? Being leaning back, confident, fucking king aura, like this. Just fucking showing you, big boss man, right? But I decided to record it this way. Still a lot of shit to learn. All right, another thing, literacy. Calligraphy was as much about reading as writing. Writing is communication. Reading is literacy. Know your shit, man. This is tied to the earlier debate we had about philosophy. Know your shit. Know science and shit. We're gonna touch on that in the next one. But just know your stuff, bro. Know the things about the world. Know, at least to some degree, right? For example, I don't give a shit about politics, about the modern media. I have no idea what celebrities are and what movies, songs. Fucking sometimes my friends, like, they tell me like, oh, like Sabrina Carpenter. And I was like, who the fuck is that? And literally, I learned about who Sabrina Carpenter is at the point she was apparently irrelevant. Because she's irrelevant now, right? I don't know. But your literacy in different areas, basically be kind of a polymath to a slight degree, right? Know a little bit of history, a little bit of geography, a little bit of philosophy, a little bit of mathematics, a little bit of physics, chemistry, biology, science, culture, politics, everything, a little bit of everything, so that you're never really, unable to participate in a conversation. And also you can take this to, a next level, which is just become really literate and be, deepen your understanding of many things. I'm blessed enough to be curious my entire life, so I can say a lot about a lot of things, right? I could go on astronomy rants, dinosaur, right? Like paleontology rants, or I could go on about fucking cars or something, right? So that's literacy, it adds depth. As a man, you cannot be fucking shallow, bro. Last one. Oh yeah, I forgot. These are the last two I can actually pronounce. So this was shu, and this is shu. Mathematics. In ancient China, mathematics was, a noble skill. Not many people knew how to read, write, or count, do calculations. And, everybody, it's pretty widely known that ancient Chinese were pretty good at fucking maths. They calculate a lot of weird shit with weird accuracy, right? They were excellent engineers. They were really good at astronomy, which was a part of mathematics, right? Mathematics also allowed them to understand music theory, science, right? So that was what mathematics was. And I still think mathematics is good to study today. So what is the modern equivalent to mathematics? Two things again. The first one is systems thinking. Now this one, myself, I am such a beginner too, bro. Like, don't feel fucking like, oh my God, so much shit to learn. Like, bro just gave me 20 fucking skills to learn because he disguises at 6, but almost every fucking one of these Chinese things he broke down into 2. Fucking thanks, bro. Charioteering, he broke into 4. Fucking hell. And those are really broad things, right? So systems thinking is one I'm new to, one I don't really understand myself, but I think my understanding of Chinese philosophy helps a lot. Learn your Chinese philosophy. It helps you in fucking maths. I'm sorry, I started to look at myself in the screen. I should be looking at you, my bad, bro. So what is systems thinking? In Chinese philosophy, we got... Actually, no. What is systems thinking? It's realize that things are systems. Things are constellations. Things are groups, categories, right? So when you look at a company building, basic understanding is like, oh yeah, this is a company. Oh yeah, inside there are some people. Oh yeah, they're doing some stuff. Oh yeah, like, you know, they sell this and this product. System thinking is like, oh, so this is like a network of people, right? These people, you know, they work together on different things. He's this person in this like web of relations. This is the boss, right? This is the blah, 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 blah. They're doing this. They are collaborating in this way, right? Get into levels of thinking. I'm going to link below actually for you a video by a guy called Ho Math, who did a two-part video series on what levels of thinking are. It's essentially the first level of thinking is recognizing your own desires and needs. The second level of thinking is recognizing other people have the desires. Third level of thinking is recognizing that other people recognize other people's desires and needs. Fourth is recognizing that there is these social relations, and this is system thinking. System thinking is born at level 4 thinking. There's 9 levels of thinking, but systems thinking is born at level 4, where you realize, hey, this is like a web of people, these social situations, social interactions between people, like different people want different things. And I know that they know that we know that they know that I want this and that they want this and they know that I want that they don't. Blah, blah, blah. Stuff like this, right? This is system thinking. System thinking allows you to get better in the modern age of computers. Computers are nothing but systems, right? Countries, governments, systems. Interpersonal relations, again, systems. In ancient China, you had systems, right? The natural world is even composed of systems. Look, you have the solar system, planets orbiting around each other via invisible, right, fields, via invisible attractions, forces that tie them together because they're tied in this web of a system, right? Our system, solar system, and other solar systems in a galaxy, other galaxies in galaxy groups in super groups, right? And the universe is just one big fucking net. Let's go to the micro. Atoms are just like fucking planets, same thing. It's like one thing orbiting another via invisible force, and then another things, they orbit each other and they fucking create a human being. That's odd. That's fucking crazy, right? This is system thinking. In Chinese philosophy, you have the 5 elements. So you have wood, fire, earth, metal, water, which, you know, they feed into each other, but they also have different relations between themselves. You have the yin yang, right? The Chinese balance symbol. You fucking know how the yin yang looks. I don't have a yin yang on me anywhere. I need to get a yin yang. This is the second time this week that I am in the need of a yin yang. Ah, there we go. I do have a yin yang. This, right? This thing. This is also a system. To realize this is to be able to think in systems. And the last thing is science. Bro, know your science. Right, I for the longest time have been focused on philosophy and abstract shit like that, you know, mysticisms, religions, and stuff like that. But know your science. I've recently, like earlier in November last year, I've had like this period of time where I would watch these videos, like these videos for dumbasses, right? Not like real science, but like, you know, simplified for fucking gray people like me. Videos on quantum physics, and I was like, holy fucking shit, like this is so similar to Chinese philosophy, and we're gonna talk about quantum physics of Chinese philosophy another time again. But know your science, know your biology, right? You study like the evolution and like the basics of biology and the basics of chemistry and the basics of physics. Physics is, I think, the most important, like biology, physics, maths, biology and physics especially, because those are like really real things, right? Biology, like the study of life, physics, the study of like the universe and the things, how everything works, right? But know your basic science. Don't be fucking retarded, right? Be able to kind of know that this is that is this, right? Like some just basic ass understanding of what science is. You watched the whole video, bro. 25 minutes of me blabbering on about the 6 arts and the 6 skills of a modern man. As you can see, the tea is over. I've just recorded 2 videos back to back. So, thank you so much for watching. Don't click off just yet because I have a plug for you. This video was serving as a substitute for a live event because I am going skiing this week, right? So if you're seeing this after March 1st, that means that I am back. Hopefully I have not died on the trip. Therefore, every Wednesday and Saturday, 6:30 p.m. Central European Time, so that's 5:30 London, 12:30 New York, 9:30 Los Angeles, middle of the night in Asia, so if you're Asian or Australian, my bad, bro, that's probably too late for you to show up unless you're gonna log in on fucking 5 a.m. or something, or 3 a.m. But those are the times in the week where we go live for an hour and a half, 2 hours, where we discuss these topics. We discuss Chinese philosophy mixed with self-improvement for modern man, right? For young men to better themselves, better their lives. So I hope to see you there. I'm going to be posting more videos also. However, please come to the live events. That's like the main thing I want to do. So if you really want to do anything for me to benefit me, to pay me back for this knowledge, which you don't have to, right? Watching this video is enough. But if you want to do something for me, come to live events, hang out, and I'll see you on the next live event or video. Thank you so much for watching, bro. Peace.